SyKrPr is joining.
I don't know, bro. Let me call.
Okay. Prabhu, can you enable screen sharing for me? See the option.
Bro, you didn't join that Krishna Katha?
Yeah, I joined like that only. Still it says.
No, it's Zoom. Did you see the message? Yeah.
Prabhu.
Please check in the group. Yeah. Okay. In the group. Yeah. Okay.
Check. It is still telling me disabled.
Hmm. Can you check from? No, actually, I logged in just using the.
Yeah, now I can share. We are good, Prabhu. Okay, today we will directly start the discussion because I have something at 8. I probably will not join at 8. I will join maybe at 8:15. So in order to maximize, we'll directly go for that. Om Agyantimirandhasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayan Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। Okay, Sucheta Mataji,
Yes, Prabhuji.
many happy returns of the day. I heard last week was your birthday.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, uh, I think we are missing Radha Mataji. Maybe Mahipal Prabhu once he comes. So last week we we began with the 17th chapter, the second last chapter. The acronym for this chapter is FACE. F stands for faith, and we discussed everyone has faith, but some people has faith in mode of ignorance. They worship ghosts. Then some people have faith in mode of passion. They worship other human beings. And then some worship has faith in goodness and they worship demigods. And transcendental faith is when we worship Krishna. So that was last week topics. We discussed about faith. We discussed about food, food in mode of goodness, food in mode of passion, food in mode of ignorance. And uh, okay. Now, this week we are discussing austerity. Okay, now this will be austerity in three modes. We will be covering this topic today. Can someone read?
Yes, bro. The austerity of the body consists in this worship of the Supreme Lord, the Brahmanas, the spiritual master, and superiors like the father and mother. Cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, and non-violence are also austerities of the body.
Now, we must perform austerities. Tapodevyam putraga eva sattvam. Human life is meant for performing tapasya or for performing austerities. Now, there are three kinds of austerities. One is austerity at the level of body, one is austerity at the level of speech or austerity of speech, and the third is austerity of mind. So first Krishna will explain austerity of body, austerity of, then next verse is austerity of speech, third verse is austerity of mind. Now what is the austerity of body? Worship of Supreme Lord. Like as you see in the picture, the first one or the third picture, if one is worshipping, then um, one's body is being used to pay obeisances and other things. So that is, or doing arati or doing some seva in the temple or at home for the purpose of the Supreme Lord. That is austerity of the body. Then worshipping the brahmanas, worshipping the spiritual master. Like you see in a picture, one person is doing arati to Srila Prabhupada. So worship of the spiritual master. And superiors like father and mother. Even when we take blessings of father and mother, that is also austerity of the body. Then to clean the body is an austerity. It's austerity of the body. Simplicity. Simplicity means keeping the demands of the body simple, not being too extravagant for decoration of the body, clothings of the body, ornaments on the body, keeping it simple. That is simplicity, which is austerity of the body. Also, celibacy. We understand celibacy. That is austerity, and non-violence means not, yeah, non-violence. So these are the austerities of the body. One of our acharyas, Raghunath Das Goswami, he would pay 1,000 obeisances every day. um, Scheduled number. Everything the previous devotees would do is on a scheduled number. He would chant 128 rounds, and he would pay 1,000 obeisances every day. There is one instance where one devotee brahmachari went to see his parents. Srila Prabhupada gave him the instruction, as soon as you see your mother, bow down. It's an austerity of the body to bow down in front of parents. And then he knocked the door in his home. Mother opened the door, and then she saw nobody's there. And then she was about to leave, and then she noticed that the son is lying on the ground outside on the floor. And the mother said, "Child, what are you doing?" I said, "My spiritual master told me to offer obeisances." "No, child, don't do that. What will the neighbors think?" Because it's not the culture. But Srila Prabhupada taught to pay obeisances to parents also. So these are the austerity of bodies one should try to do. Okay. Austerity of speech.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Okay.
So here, so cleanliness is one of the austerities, right? So how one should be clean, like in what ways?
Well, just bathing.
Sorry,
Just bathing.
Prabhuji.
Just bathing.
Okay,
Every day, whether we like or not like. It is recommended for brahmanas we should bathe at least twice a day. That is keeping the
okay,
body clean.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. uh, Austerity of speech.
Austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature.
Hmm. So this may be difficult for some people, is austerity of speech. And it says it includes speaking words which are truthful, which are pleasing, which are beneficial, and not agitating to others. So we will focus on these four things. So first thing is, it should be truthful and it should be pleasing. um, Sometimes it may happen that words which are truthful may not be pleasing. Then, like, not all four category may be met at a time. So there has to be some priorities, and then we should try to make our speech consciously accordingly. And if we try to do that, then we are performing austerity at the level of speech. Now, if somebody is in lot of passion, or somebody is in lot of ignorance, and then we say, no, your life is in ignorance. Now, it's truthful, it's true, but it is not pleasing. So should we tell the person you are in ignorance? The answer is no. Why? Because the truth is relative. There are two kind of truths. One is relative truth and one is absolute truth. Relative truth is something that will change over time. It's relative to time. Right now it's truth, but it may not be truth later on. Or we say, you are a beggar, you don't even have a penny. Now it's a relative truth. Or you are nonsense, it's a relative truth, because he may improve. You are in ignorance, it's a relative truth. So these kind of criticism, it's relative truth. So higher than relative truth is it the words which are pleasing. Now all right, the person has these deficiencies, but by chastising, we are agitating the person. So one of the quality, it is not agitating to others. So now brahmanas specifically, their speech is like this. They have a controlled tongue. And shudras, they have a sharp tongue. Sharp tongue means, yeah, we understand. Now there may be some truth which is not pleasing, still it should be given preference. For example, if somebody is worshipping demigods and we tell them, well, there is no need, worship Krishna, they will not like it, they may not like it. So although we told them the truth, although it is not pleasing, still, because it is absolute truth, worshipping Krishna is absolute truth, Krishna is supreme personality of Godhead is an absolute truth, it's not going to change over time. So even though it may not be pleasing, it should still be spoken. Example can be, um, uh, you're doing one round is not enough, chant at least 4 rounds. Now they may not like it because for them it's too difficult, but you say chant at least 4 rounds and they may feel uncomfortable with it. uh, it may not be very pleasing, but it is absolute truth, because this is absolute benefit for the soul. They may or may not understand, or the mind may be agitated, but we know ultimately it is for the progression of the soul, it is for their benefit. So although absolute truth may not be pleasing, it should still be spoken, even if it is agitating to others. But if it is relative truth, then hide that and be pleasing. If someone is in ignorance and passion and has lot of bad qualities, still what we do is we glorify them and we say, please chant 1 round, please chant 2 round, please worship Krishna, because by doing that, their their relative defects will be over in short period of time, and they will develop all good qualities. They may become even better than you. So we don't criticize based on relative qualities. um, Whether it is anger, whether it is lust, whether it is envy, whether it is pride, whether it is greed. No need to focus on those, but let us focus on giving them Krishna. So that is truthful, pleasing, beneficial. Some like absolute truth is beneficial, but it may not be pleasing. Like we gave the example of worshipping Krishna, don't worship demigods, chant the holy names, read Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So they are beneficial, but they may not be pleasing. So still, anything absolute is always beneficial, and it may not be pleasing, it may agitate them, but still in that case, being truthful and being beneficial should be prioritized. um, and then it is also, um, austerity of speech also include reciting Vedic literatures. We should read Shrimad Bhagavad Gita and Shrimad Bhagavatam, even if it is an austerity for us. That is austerity of speech, because we are reciting transcendental words, and it's an austerity. Okay, any question here?
Yeah, Prabhuji, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, Prabhuji, I have a question. Okay, I think in previous shloka we were telling that we should not, yeah, we should worship spiritual master,
Yes,
and and then we are telling we should worship only Krishna, not even the demigod.
yes.
Then is it not a little bit contradictory that if we say okay, Krishna is the absolute God, then we should worship only Krishna, not even the spiritual master, we should respect and pay obeisance and all. But when we say worship, then so
Yes.
because I feel the demigods comes in between, right? So Krishna is the highest, and then demigod, and then human being. Even spiritual master is also a human being. I believe we consider them as human being only. So how it is like how it is
Well,
explained? Yeah.
yeah, I understand, Prabhu. Um, a spiritual master should be worshipped not as God, but as representative of God. Because spiritual master is worshipped with a mood that he will take us to Krishna. But demigod worship, more or less, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, is for material motives. So it is not recommended. But if you are worshipping any demigod with the prayer, please take me to Krishna, that's all right. But then there should be a direct worship of Krishna, most prominent, and we can pray to demigods. Please, there is no need, because all the demigods reside in the body of spiritual master. But spiritual master is one who is taking us to Krishna. So he is worshipped as a representative. Is that all right?
Yeah. Yes, Prabhuji.
Anyone has any other question?
So now, let's say we say someone don't eat non-veg, you might go to hell.
So is it good or not?
Yeah.
Okay, one second. Let me close the window because sound is less.
Mahipal Prabhu, can you repeat the question, please? I missed out.
If somebody is eating non-veg and we say them don't eat non-veg, you will go to hell. And is it okay to say?
Well, we can present it. We can present it in a way that don't eat non-veg. I mean, they are going to hell is a relative truth if you really see that, because um, it's a time relative thing. After some time, they will come out of it. I mean, yeah, we don't want them to suffer. So we tell them in a pleasing way, saying that if you tell them we are against violence, then they think it is very nice. Or we give them some example, like there was a non-vegetarian child. He was eating, and then by mistake, what happens? The raw eye, was in the food, and then he noticed the raw eye, and then he understood what I'm eating. Till that time he never realized, because just it was like paneer and other things, because just the flesh would come and he would eat. And then when he noticed raw eye, then his consciousness kind of dwindled, and then he said, no, I cannot eat this, because he got that realization just by that example. So we can tell them that we are against violence, we are peaceful people, or we are against cruelty. um, but if time, place, circumstances, Prabhu, again, there is a principle that it should be beneficial for some people. um, if if you say you will go to hell, works wonders. For some people it works wonders, and for other people it they may feel offended. So time, place, circumstances, based on your relationship and other things. Is that all right?
Okay.
Okay.
Then looks like we need to be silent only.
We need to be silent.
Or just tolerate whatever is happening without speaking.
Now, depends, Prabhuji. Try to give them Krishna, and like when Srila Prabhupada came, he gave them Krishna. He never asked them to leave non-vegetarian or follow four regulative principles. They had free mixing of men and women, maybe free relationships. Prabhupada tolerated. And Prabhupada was giving them Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And then later on, they came and they asked Prabhupada, is there something else that we need to follow? And Prabhupada said, yes, we have to follow no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication. And that was like a thunderbolt, because Prabhupada gave initiation even before asking them, because Prabhupada wanted that they should not go away from Krishna because they were hurt by us. So the principle is, first they should come to Krishna. Like one Mataji, she recently started joining Bhagavad Gita classes. Maybe 4 or 5 classes she came, and then somebody told them no onion, no garlic, and she could not take it. And I was having one-on-one with them, and she said, Prabhuji, how can they say like that? Now I cannot say eat onion, eat garlic, but I just said, well, don't worry about it, try to grow your Krishna consciousness. And I told them the principle why onion garlic is bad. And then I said, take your time. There is no rush, but just the understanding that, well, this is food in Tamogun and we are trying to become transcendental. So it's so difficult to come to goodness. And if we eat food in mode of ignorance, then we are trying to come to goodness, but this food is pulling us to ignorance. So there will be constant anger, and because anger is mode of ignorance, laziness, sleepiness, so sex desire. So these are the things that will be the effect of eating onion garlic. So I gave them the knowledge, and then I said, take your time. But we always emphasize on giving Krishna. By when they get Krishna, they somehow, my experience, naturally these things follows once they start experiencing Krishna.
Uh, but Prabhuji, if like how can we say that if one person is not eating onion or garlic doesn't have anger or something like that? We can't say that, right?
Yes, even if one is not eating onion garlic, he may have, but he is not degrading himself further. See, we don't say anyone don't eat onion garlic, but because it is food in mode of ignorance, even though one has stopped eating onion garlic, he still have ignorance and passion. And then the chanting of holy name and Krishna consciousness will bring him to goodness. As he come to goodness, his anger and lust and envy and greed will naturally go away. It's 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 like he is walking uphill and the path is clear. But if he is having not favorable food habits, like last week we discussed food and goodness, food and passion, food and ignorance. If we eat food and goodness, then we progress towards goodness. If we eat food and passion, then we will degrade to ignorance or passion and ignorance. So one option is we are going uphill, one option is there are no rocks on the way, one option is there are roadblocks. When it is roadblock, it's little difficult to go up. When there are no roadblocks, it's easier to go up. Does that answer, Sujita Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah. But you mean to say that eventually we without eating onion or garlic, so eventually we will decrease our angerness, right?
Yes, because um, when ignorance go away from our nature, then lower nature will go away. And
Yeah.
if we are trying to become trans, it's like Srila Prabhupada used to say, it's like when we become sick, we are taking Tylenol and medicine, and we are avoiding curd, rice, ice creams, and cold drinks, etc. It's much easier, or we are taking antibiotics and avoiding these things. It's much easier to get cured. But if we are sick or have cough and other things, and we are eating pakoras, kachoris, and cold drinks, then it takes much longer time to get cured. Just like that.
Mhm.
If someone is sick and avoiding food stuff, does not mean he does not have sickness. Yes, he has sickness, but he's taking the medicine right away. The other person is also taking the medicine right away, but it will take much longer time. Is that all right?
Okay. Yeah.
That's why there are things to do and things not to do. and when taken in a full package, it works like wonders. Okay.
Yeah, Prabhuji, I have a question about silence. Actually, is the silence also austerity?
It's an austerity. It's an
So
austerity of the
sometimes,
mind.
but like sometimes it can be ignorance also, right? Somebody, so for example, somebody is requesting something from somebody, some other person, and he is just silent. So it can be ignorance also. It can be austerity
Yeah.
also.
So when the word used, one of the austerity of mind is gravity. Gravity means one is silent, but one is internally full meditating on Krishna. One is internally Krishna conscious, externally silent. That is gravity. It's not material silence. All right?
Okay.
That's an austerity. Means no unnecessary talking. If, like our acharyas explain, if we have to talk about gossip or remain silence, remain silent. If we have to talk about politics and some mundane topics or fault in others, or we have a choice to remain silent, remain silent. But if we have an opportunity to speak about Krishna or remain silent, then speak about Krishna. This overall together is called gravity, gravity of the mind. Any other question on speech? So if we don't like somebody's actions, and if we tell them in a pleasing way, it is an austerity of speech. We must perform that austerity. There are two ways. One is your nonsense, you always do like this. It will agitate the other person. Then we are not performing austerity. But we can say harshly, like Vidura spoke harshly to Dhritarashtra. You are becoming old. When you are breathing, you are making ga 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 like sound, and you are eating in a house of Bhima like a dog. You are a burden on the society. So harsh words. Why don't you worship Krishna? Your sons have died. You are blind by birth. Still, you are just eating and sleeping, wasting human form of life. My dear brother, you are nonsense. You have spent so many years in politics and doing nonsense. At least now worship Krishna. You are in the fag end of your life. Your teeth are falling down and you are not interested in worshiping Krishna. What will be your destination? Now it's a harsh speech, but because he's speaking about absolute truth, which is worshipping Krishna, and whatever is needed to help them worship Krishna, it is considered austerity of speech. For him to speak like this is an austerity. But if it's small thing, then we don't like someone and we immediately go and say um, in an angry voice, then we are lacking austerity of speech. Okay, all right. Austerity of mind. Now, one story I usually share, I just remembered Akbar and Birbal story. Some of these stories are very famous. Akbar called an astrologer and he said, "Tell me about my future." An astrologer said, "And about my relatives." An astrologer says, "All the relatives will die before you." And all the relatives, you, my family, everybody will die before me? Yes. And Akbar said, "Put him behind the jail. He's um, he's making me angry. Put him behind the jail." Then later on, Birbal met astrologer. Astrologer said, "What did I do? He just asked me to tell about his future. I told him and it is a fact. But what can I do?" Then Birbal said, "Your voice, your words should be pleasing. They should be pleasing." Then again, he said, "All right, can I get another chance?" So Birbal requested Akbar. Akbar said, "Okay, call him again." And Akbar said, "Now recalculate according to my astrological charts." Then astrologer recalculated and he said, yes, this time I recalculated. It is most auspicious. Actually, you will live the longest. You will live the longest, which by default implies everybody will die before you. But he didn't say that. He just said you will live the longest. And Akbar was very pleased. And Akbar said, give him gifts. He is very pleasing to me. So it's just a matter of communication in a way that is pleasing. Okay. Austerity of mind.
And satisfaction, simplicity, gravity, self-control, and purification of one's existence are the austerities of the mind.
Okay, thank you. Now, who was reading before? I think they tried to read, but voice was too low, or nobody was reading.
Me, Prabhuji.
Okay, I think you were away from system, probably.
Oh, sorry, Prabhuji.
No problem, no problem. Thank you. Okay, satisfaction. Satisfaction. Now, these are the 5 austerities of mind. Very important. Satisfaction. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, by taking the mind away from sense gratification, one will not become agitated. If you take the mind away from sense gratification, the moment you think of sense gratification, the moment you think of it, your mind will be agitated. You will get an unsatisfied feeling. So 2 things have to be done. One has to become Krishna conscious. Another, one should not meditate on sense gratification. The thought comes, you will feel dissatisfied. So that is satisfaction of mind. Means focus on Krishna. The moment thought goes, you will feel dissatisfied, but immediately bring it back to Krishna. That is called satisfaction of mind. Srila Prabhupada says the scriptures are full of wonderful stories. There is all kind of stories in Srimad Bhagavatam. So we should read Bhagavad Gita, we should finish it, and then we should read Srimad Bhagavatam. And that is very satisfying. Hearing Krishna Katha is very satisfying. You can read Krishna book, it is very satisfying. You can read pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, it is very satisfying. So rather try to find your satisfaction in a Krishna conscious way. So that is satisfaction. It's an austerity for the mind. Then another austerity is simplicity. Simplicity means without duplicity. Duplicitous means we behave in a way, but we think in another way. For example, guest comes, and then we open the door, and the neighbor comes, and then we say, "We are so happy to see you," but inside we are thinking, "Why the hell you came?" And this is called duplicity. Duplicity means our external internals don't match. So Srila Prabhupada says simplicity means we welfare good of all living entities. When we want good of every living entity, that is simplicity. But when we don't want good of somebody, that is duplicity. And today morning I was hearing a lecture by my spiritual master, and he was mentioning when we have a mentality of proprietorship, that I own it, then anything, it should be mine, then the mind becomes envious by nature. The feeling of ownership, proprietorship brings enviousness. And then when we become envious of somebody, then we become duplicitous. Why duplicitous? Because inside when we have envy, then we actually don't want others' welfare. The envy can be spiritual, envy can be material. I don't want other person to grow materially. I don't want other person to grow spiritually. So that is envy. That is arising because we are having a feeling of proprietorship, that whether spiritual success, it should belong to me, or material success, it also belongs to me. I claim it. I want to claim it. The feeling of ownership. So that destroys the austerity of mind. The mind becomes sense gratifier. So one of the austerity of mind is simplicity, means sarva bhuteshu sukhina, let all living entities be happy. And what can make others happy is Krishna consciousness. So if someone is progressing and growing in their Krishna consciousness, then we should be very happy for them. Why? Because they are experiencing happiness. That's what is a blessing of all saintly people. Even if the mind goes other way, otherwise, then the mind should be trained, saying that, well, let everyone be happy, and they are becoming happier materially or whatever. For us, we always think from spiritual perspective. They are happy spiritually, so let them become more happier. So then when we think of good for all living entities, Prabhupada said that is simplicity of the mind. Then gravity, as we discussed, Arun Prabhu asked this beautiful question: silence, no gossip, mundane talks, village talks, and internally being Krishna conscious. We can be Krishna conscious by any of the 9 forms of devotional service going on within. We can be chanting the holy names. We can be offering prayers like, my Lord, please help me to not become incriminated because I'm in this situation. Please help me to escape. Please help me to avoid criticizing. Please help me to do the right thing here. So when we are taking shelter of Krishna, in any of the 9 forms of devotional service, internally and externally we are silent, then we are grave. But when there is a talk about Krishna, then we are eager to glorify Krishna, speak about Krishna and other things. Srila Prabhupada writes, gravity is the best training of mind. If you want to control the mind, the best training you can give to your mind is internalizing your Krishna consciousness and trying to become more and more Krishna conscious in every situation, trying to see every situation, how can I be Krishna conscious now? Like yesterday, there was some meeting, temple meeting, and then that decision needs to be made if this devotee should stay in a temple or should he go. Some situation happened, no details. And then now I was immediately, what is everyone's opinion? And I was immediately in my mind praying, my Lord, please protect me. And then I did not say a word. But even by not just by listening, we can develop our thoughts, negative thoughts towards somebody, because so many points are coming, good and bad. And sometimes these things have to be done because it's necessary. Um, so gravity means internally remaining Krishna conscious, and simplicity means trying to think good for everyone. When we are doing that, then the mind is controlled. When we don't like somebody, and speak gossips and hear gossip, and my spiritual master says, if somebody comes and tell you the neighbor lost the job, and if it gives us pleasure, then there is a long way to go. Or when
जवळ जाऊन बोलायचं नाही, जी असो नाही तर कुणी असो, 6 feet अंतर.
Okay, so when we um, um, what was I saying?
Neighbor loses job.
If hearing somebody's criticism gives us joy, that's a proof that we don't like that person, um, and we have longer way to go. So a devotee, my spiritual master says, he hates gossip, he hates fault finding. The moment he hears about fault finding towards somebody, he hates that. But to speak about speaking that, then we are making progress. So these are all austerities of mind. Whether one is on that platform or not, one should aspire. Then we are performing this. This is it's a tapasya to train the mind. And these are the 5 ways. This is the only place where Krishna says, apart from 6th chapter, how to control the mind. In 6th chapter, Krishna says, anyone remembers what Krishna says, how to control the mind?
Detachment practice.
Detachment from sense gratification and
By practice.
Practice. Trying to become Krishna conscious. Sadhana. Abhyas, trying to become Krishna conscious. And this is more elaborate. Satisfaction, simplicity, gravity, then self-control. Self-control means don't let the mind loose. Don't let the mind loose. The mind will say, how can you do like this? And when the mind becomes loose, then we tell him, never do like this again. This is not good. Or, it's not just saying that. Of course, we can say that if something is wrong, we have to tell. But the tone and the way it is said, then we may lack self-control there. We may not exhibit self-control. We let the mind loose. Whatever thought comes, we let it out. Then that is lack of self-control. But rather, we should try to become grave and internalize it and absorb it and take shelter of it. It's not easy, but the test of Krishna consciousness is that this thing will naturally become part of you. And the last is purification of one's existence. Means lust, anger, envy, greed, they all attack through the medium of mind. So when the mind is purified, they don't attack anymore. And as Suchita Mataji was mentioning, even the food eating habits, the anger and other things may still be there, yes. But when we practice Krishna consciousness for a decent amount of time, then anartha nivriti happens, or anartha nivriti means anarthas are removed, and then the purification happens and we become purified. These are the austerities of mind. Okay, any question?
Yeah, I have 2 questions here. Like one for gravity. Like if we are with other persons which are not Krishna conscious, they used to do the gossiping. At that time, what would be our role? Like being silent or like telling them not to gossip? What should be the, because if we say anything like that, then our friendship or something may affect. If they are close friends and if we tell them don't talk this nonsense or something like that, so it will be affect the friendship, the relationship. And if we tell them like if we not tell them, then it will again, we will feel the guiltiness like.
Yeah, so we have to become grave in those situations. Grave means you internally pray to Krishna, my Lord, please help me to avoid being in these circumstances. Krishna will help you actually. You are internalizing, or you are chanting internally, or you are cultivating one of the 9 forms of devotional service in your mind, and externally you are not participating in them. If somebody says, what do you think? Yeah. And then when you are grave within, only positivity will come out. If they are finding fault in somebody, like if somebody is telling bad about something, then I try to meditate on one of the good quality. If they say, what do you think? Well, things have improved. This person has become much better now from the day one when he joined. Yeah, we all agree, yeah, that's true. So then you are kind of and reducing the spiciness in the situation. You're not adding spices. Instead, you are a balm laga rahe ho in the situation.
Yes.
So something
Yeah.
like this, and eventually you can pray to Krishna, please help me avoid being in these situations.
Okay, Prabhu. And if we know the other person is wrong, then?
Yeah, usually I speak out. If somebody says something bad about other person, usually I say, well, this devotee is actually great. This devotee is doing so much. See, we cannot. But at the same time, if there is actually some fault that exists, then we do address. Srila Prabhupada said to call a thief is all right. So if somebody does have faults, then we don't artificially, because we see, yeah, this person is misbehaving with devotees, he becomes angry, he criticizes. So maintain distance, and that's all right. That's all right.
Okay.
At the same time, we want welfare of the person, but if somebody asks, if, like, if it's a decision making or you want to help a devotee, only in those situations it's okay. But when we meet a person, we pay respect, and then we tell those devotees, if we have the authority to tell, then we tell those devotees, well, Prabhu, don't do like this, otherwise it's not good for your Krishna consciousness. Now that is absolute, that may not be pleasing, that may be agitating, but because it is beneficial, it is absolute, it's all right to tell like that. Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhuji. And the second one is for self-control. So do we need to tell our mind that it is the wrong thing? You mean to say
Yes.
how to do the self-control?
Self-control comes when we are in mode of goodness. When we are in mode of passion, then we immediately react the way our mind gets triggered. But when we are in mode of goodness, then the advantage of mode of goodness is you have a pause button when you are in goodness. Somebody says, well, this is like this, and then you think, yeah, it's not pleasing. At the same time, this is the situation. And when you have time to think, then you can act positively. We lack self-control because of passion. Does it make sense?
Sorry, Prabhuji, because Srijana was crying, I could not hear you properly.
Yeah. So should I try to say again?
Please, Prabhuji, she fell down, so she cried. So I just
Yeah. So okay. So self-control comes when we are in mode of goodness.
yes.
Mode of goodness means we have a pause button. Means when the mind says something and when we act in a certain way, there is a thought process behind that. That is mode of goodness. Mode of passion is the mind says, how can you say like this? And immediately we say, how can you say like this? So there is no pause button. There is instant action based on mind's thoughts. That is lack of self-control. It cannot be cultivated artificially, but as one become more and more Krishna conscious, and if Paramatma gives an inspiration from within, galat kar rahe ho, then one should try to reconsider and try to tolerate himself. Is that all right?
Yes, Prabhuji. So chanting may help in that case, correct?
Certainly, chanting will help in all these five. That is like, Mahaban. Mahaban means it will destroy everything. Everything bad it will destroy.
Okay, Prabhuji. Yeah, that could be the one way we can control the mind.
Yes.
We can include the pause button.
Yes. If you realize, well, this is something wrong, well, I'm becoming angry. If you realize by Krishna's mercy, then exhibit self-control. If you don't realize, and then we become angry and we say something and situation become worse, then later on, take a humble position and say sorry.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
My mother used to say, sorry बोलने से हम छोटे नहीं हो जाते, हम बड़े होते. When we say sorry, we don't become small, we become bigger.
Bigger, yeah.
So
yes.
We should be very eager. If somebody says you did like this, well, Prabhu, I'm sorry. You did like this, well, Mataji, I'm sorry. And then others' respect for you will increase.
Yeah.
It will definitely happen where we make mistakes. But if we are ready to take a humble position, throughout life, we will never have to suffer for our mistakes. Even if we make the grievous mistake, if we just, the moment we realize, if we don't act on ego, take a humble position and admit, you throughout your life you can remain pure even with full of impurities. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always said Trinadapi Sunichina, because that will save us from all obstacles in the path of bhakti. The reason bhakti becomes difficult is the moment we fail to apply or take a humble position. Impurities will be there, but we have a free will later on we realize, because not that we are in passion all the time. Somebody may make us angry and become angry, we may loosen ourselves, But at some point of time we realize कि actually मैं गलत था या मैं गलत थी. Actually there was a fault from my side. And then if we think, why should I? No, even if there is fault, I will chant Hare Krishna, I will not bow down. Then difficulty will increase. Is that all right?
Yes, Prabhuji. So by saying sorry, will it be under mode of goodness, or still it will be mode of passion?
It's mode of goodness. Accepting one's mistake, accepting one's fault is sign of goodness. Mode of passion is blaming others.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Any other question? All right. So these are the austerities of mind, and let us go. Now, before we read this, let us see who remembers what. We should finish in 5-10 minutes. What is austerity of body?
Cleaning.
Huh?
Cleaning.
Cleanliness of the body is an austerity. Okay.
Worshipping Supreme Lord.
Worshipping Supreme Lord.
Offering prasadam.
Offering prasadam. Yes.
I mean offering food, sorry.
Yes.
Simplicity and non-violence.
Simplicity of the body means?
Chant the holy name.
That's simplicity of the mind. What is simplicity of the body?
Maybe living simple.
The body does not have many demands, like so much makeup and so much jewelries and such. I need so many clothes. Like, not simple. We are not here to show off to others. We are here to develop love for Krishna. So simplicity of the body. Then non-violence. Yes, non-violence is an austerity of the body. Okay. Anything else?
Celibacy.
Celibacy is an austerity of the body. Thank you. What else?
Worshipping Brahmanas' parents.
Worshipping Brahmanas. What else? Brahmanas means Vaishnavas. One is spiritual master, one is Vaishnava. So high respect for all Vaishnavas, and naturally Guru, the spiritual master. What else?
Cleanliness.
Cleanliness. And then I believe father and mother, respects to father and mother.
Yes.
Okay, now let us see if we miss anything. Supreme Lord, Brahmana, spiritual master, father, mother, cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy. Wow, great, amazing. This is teamwork. Okay, if you remember austerity of speech, 4 things.
Can you repeat?
Truthfulness.
I couldn't understand.
Austerity of speech.
Truthful.
Being truthful. Thank you.
Pleasing.
Pleasing.
Regularly doing Vedic literature.
Yes.
Reading.
Regularly reading Vedic scriptures. 2 more.
Chanting holy
name.
name.
Chanting means somehow it will come. Well, it is an austerity of speech, and it comes under reading Vedic scriptures. It comes under that austerity. Okay.
Not agitating and beneficial.
Not agitating to others. One more.
Beneficial.
Beneficial, yeah. It is beneficial to others. Okay, and if you have a choice, truthful or pleasing, what will you choose?
It will depend on the situation.
Give an example.
Like if someone is non-devotee and in the first place itself, we are telling him, okay, you should be doing, means you do not eat non-vegetarian foods and all those. Like you mentioned, okay, first step should be invite them for the Krishna and tell them the truth. We should not be telling all the truth and all the hard principles at a time. We can be pleasing to them in that way. So this, with scenarios, maybe the approach will differ.
Okay, okay, thank you. Somebody else said truthful. When I said what is important, truthful or pleasing, somebody said truthful.
Yes, Prabhuji, I said truthful.
Okay. Always?
Yeah, it should be always truthful, whether it is, but try to be speak in pleasing manner, but it must be truthful, I feel.
Okay. A situation, Mataji. A situation.
Like here only, yeah.
Like
Yes.
I'll give you one example.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Like if you have to make a choice between being truthful and being pleasing, which one will you choose?
Being truthful, I feel so.
Okay. Now the situation we considered is, if it is, like for example, if a person is very envious, suppose, if you know that your neighbor is very envious,
Okay.
we don't want to see that in others. If suppose you know and you have seen, just hypothetical situation, and if you tell them, Namaste Mataji, how are you? Actually, you are a very envious person. Now it is truthful. It is being truthful, but it is not pleasing. And what will happen is your relationship with them will end forever.
Yeah,
Correct?
maybe the words are different, but it should be truthful. Like I can tell in other way, like
well, you can just hide it. You just don't need to say that. So then you become pleasing in a way. One very way to, so if it is relative truth, because although they are envious today, if they take up Krishna consciousness, they'll become purified. But if we tell them you are envious, and if we break our relationship with them, they lost the opportunity. And Krishna lost faith in us also. Because instead of helping somebody to take towards Krishna, we are taking them away from Krishna. They will say, well, I know devotees, I know ISKCON people, I never want to go there. Because they think us, and they will put a question mark on the whole ISKCON itself, not just us, because we represent that. Did that make sense?
yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
So if it is relative, then we don't emphasize on that. None of the spiritual master, you see, they see everything. They know the disciple in and out. They never speak anything. They just say, chant sincerely, associate with devotees, be determined. They just help us to become more Krishna conscious. So they are more focusing on beneficial part, what is beneficial for us. All right. But if it is absolute truth, then we should be straightforward, truthful. If somebody comes and says, well, Krishna is a demigod, now we cannot take that. Okay. And we don't say you're nonsense. Again, that's not an austerity. But if they say, well, Krishna demigod, all right, all right. Where have you heard that from that person? Where has he heard that? Where is it written in scriptures? I'm willing to accept. If you show me the verse where it is written, from today onwards, I will leave Krishna worship also. I will accept you. But show me where it is written. Then they get stuck because they don't know. There is no basis. Okay. Thank you.
Prabhuji, then what is the difference between duplicity and being pleasing? Because in being duplicity, and it means we are something from inside and we are showing something else outside. And the pleasing is more or less the same thing if we are going in that direction.
Now, duplicitous, literally, when we say duplicitous, means we have negative thoughts for that person. We can be duplicitous in Krishna's service, and we should be. But what it refers to duplicitous behavior, which is not good, is when we now on a transcendental way, if our consciousness is how, that's why Srila Prabhupada mentions simplicity of the mind as doing good to everyone. When our motive is not do good to everyone, then we are duplicitous. But if our motive is do good to everyone, then we are not. For example, we know this person is envious. We will not say anything internally, but externally we say, please chant the holy names. Please come for kirtan, come for katha, take some prasadam, offer. Now we are thinking good for them. So this is not considered duplicitous. Is that all right?
Oh, okay. Yeah. This perspective, yeah. Now it's clear.
Okay, okay, thank you. Okay, now austerity of mind, 5 things.
Gravity and self-control.
Okay, what does gravity means?
Being silent.
Just being silent. For example, I see some person and I'm silent, and internally I'm thinking, this is number one nonsense. I hate this person. The moment I see him, I just want to just smash him. So I'm silent. I'm not saying anything. Is this gravity?
No, no, it's not a gravity.
So what does gravity means?
Not getting attracted to other things. I mean, in the same, like gravity is like same as like self-controlling.
Well, everything you are mentioning is perfect. There is nothing wrong in every word you use. It is just trying to label those lines in a certain bracket. That's where the confusion is coming.
Yeah, yes, bro.
But your statements are perfect. Absolutely. Not getting attracted to other things and
Speaking only good means valid things, and keeping quiet when things are means don't speak nonsense, I would say.
don't speak nonsense. Yes, that's an aspect of gravity. No gossip, no nonsense. And the main aspect of gravity, what is that? Main aspect.
Internally meditating on the Lord.
Huh?
Internally meditating on the Lord.
Internally meditating on
the lotus feet of the Lord.
any form of devotional service. Thank you, Prabhu. That is a main aspect of gravity. Means I can be sitting and I can be very stern. But if internally I'm meditating on sense gratification, then I'm not grave. But I can be sitting and stern, and in the meditation, I am praying, my dear Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please help me. My dear Nityananda Prabhu, please help me. Now I am grave. So grave is internally being Krishna conscious. That's the austerity of the mind. That's the best training of the mind. Sri Prabhupada writes in the purport, best training of the mind is to become grave. If somebody is becoming angry at you and you internally, my Lord, please, internally, nobody knows. You are silent externally, but internally, my Lord, please give me the strength to deal with situation. My mind is becoming very agitated. Please help me. Now you are grave. You are grave. So that's gravity. Then what Sucheta Mataji said is satisfaction. The austerity of mind is satisfaction. The moment mind goes towards sense gratification, we immediately become dissatisfied. If we think, oh, that's so nice, I wish I can enjoy that. And just because the thought that, well, I cannot enjoy that, it will bring dissatisfaction. So satisfaction means always turning the mind towards Krishna. Then we can become satisfied. Okay, what else? Satisfaction, gravity, then
Purification,
purification. That's by
self
becoming Krishna conscious. Yes, go ahead.
self-control.
What is self-control?
Yep, yeah, same thing, Prabhuji, like controlling and controlling against the materialistic world. I mean, materialistic things.
Can you give an example of self-control?
Yeah, excess usage of cell phone. Like buying the buying
Shopping.
whatever uh, if you see some things like electronics, if you see that if someone is using that, so you'll get envious about it and you will think that you'll want to buy it. So yeah, in that.
Excellent. Very good example. Very nice. Thank you. Any other examples? Like we become angry and
Yeah,
then we don't bloat out, blow off. We don't blow off. Then it's a sign of self-control. So that's an austerity of mind. Okay. So self-control, simplicity, satisfaction, self-control, satisfaction,
gravity.
gravity, then simplicity. Simplicity means no duplicity, means trying to do good for everyone. We discussed when Arun Prabhu questioned. And what is the last thing on austerity of mind?
Purification.
Purification. Okay, good. Satisfaction, simplicity, gravity, self-control, purification. All right, so we covered this. Now I think we can stop here. Is it all right? We just covered 3 verses, but they are kind of very important. Next week, we finish the chapter. Good? Anything here?
No.
No problem.
Radha Mataji? Do you know?
Yes, I don't.
I think you forgot about it.
No, I told her to call, but I don't know if she contacted her.
Okay, okay, no problem. Okay, thank you very much. My obeisances to all of you. Vanchakalpa tarubhesha kripa sindubhe evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Very grateful to all of you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.